the dockworkers, a ceiling-height window. The hawthorn branches scrape the glass like bony fingers. There's a little slide panel up there to let some air in. No need to open it in spring. It's still too cold outside.
I've got nothing to say to you. Why are you wasting your time? I am being aggressive? Listen, you moral and turn like...
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Look, a comedian. Do your job, ask your questions, then get out of Martinez.
Strange. It's as if people don't believe a cop could be a socialist revolutionary. It's the ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It's barely held together, but it takes about half an hour to piece one together, using the system you've devised. Which one do you want? It would be very interesting to read about these, wouldn't it? I mean, there seems to be a square-shaped entry wound in the victim's forehead. She's been sitting there for weeks, on her rocking chair, with a square hole in her skull, staring at the wall, her mouth agape. That's all you got. From the half hour you spent piecing it together, all you know is the entry wound was square-shaped. You never found the bullet. And then another body showed up, also with a square hole in his forehead. Who knows? Those pages are missing. What next? One day you may still catch the man with the square gun. Some assholes brought their couch outside and hung out on it. In the middle of the street, on the roof, on the hillside by the motorway. You know, at an unexpected location. They were young, and they thought they looked cool on it. Yes, as you've said here, insufferable rock and roll assholes. Young people are the worst. So anyway, you got a complaint about the damn sofa, or couch, or whatever it was. They were leaving it out in all these unexpected and whimsical locations. They took it to where they also took photos of themselves on it, and smoked cigarettes, and drank coffee because they felt it's intellectual. Cigarette butts, coffee cups, stupid couch. You had to clean it all up, and you did. So congratulations to you. Case solved. No, you didn't have time for that. These notes show that you have what is called a real goddamn job. You don't have time to be chasing down the couch assholes. You have a real job to do. What next? Murder. Tum-tum-tum at the hookah parlor was a case originally assigned to an officer called Joseph Mills, who is now dead. Of circumstances completely unconnected to murder at the hookah parlor. Beaten to death by a throng of Villalobos gang members when him and his partner JM, only initials mentioned, answered a call one night. It's a sad story, and it isn't really represented in your case files. Stop stalling and get to the murder at the hookah parlor. Joseph Mills was on this case that he just couldn't solve, was doing it solo, said it was a real nutcracker, a real brain twister, was on it for, like, a month. The captain got impatient. Shit or get off the pot, Mills. Mills didn't get off the pot. Not yet. He kept at it for a couple of weeks more, racking his brains, running with every theory, as outlandish as they seemed. Still couldn't solve the murder at the hookah parlor. Tough case, he said. Toughest he's ever had. No, he was awful. Awful sense of humor, too. The worst jokes you've ever heard. Really rapey. Still, he'd been on it for months now. Said it was the final case. Said it was uncrackable. That murderer vanished into thin air. That goddamn hookah parlor was all he talked about. Okay, so the case is handed to you because Mills isn't getting anywhere, and you look into it. Here's the setup. A young man is found dead in a hookah parlor. You know, those places where you go and smoke bubblegum-flavored vapor all day. No, it's soot and water vapor. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, so anyway, young man in his 20s found with his skull busted open, right on the floor of the hookah parlor, in the middle of the day. No one else is in there, only client that day. In perfect health, too. Some kind of movie producer. No one enters, no one exits. He's just sucking on his watermelon hookah all morning, all noon, like he usually does. He's a regular. No calls, nothing, just sucking on the hookah until 15:45. Then bam, he's dead on the floor with his skull busted open, blood everywhere. What happened? How can it be? Mills has no idea. Invisible assassin, movie deal gone sour. Girl at the counter did it. Nothing fits. Eerie. Man just dropped dead. So you go to the parlor. You see cushions around the table. Table's low, heavy, really sharp edge. See? You can't even read the thing without solving it. Yeah, it was that. Turns out hookah does do something. It turns off your brain's oxygen supply, and you don't notice it until you get up to go to the bathroom. Yeah, he liked his hookah. Stephen was his name. Smoking hookah. Didn't you hear? I don't know. Trying to come up with a movie script, maybe. Anyway, that was murder at the hookah parlor. Joseph Mills wasn't a good detective, and about 30 minutes has passed, piecing it together. Next. Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers.
Gendarmerie, you found me.
His slender figure is backlit by city lights, its distant streets and motorways flashing like diamonds. And his shirt is still unbuttoned.
Beautiful. So tell me, are you here to make things right again? Then I have some good news for you. My Sunday friend is visiting me tonight. I told him about you and he'd like to say hello. Step in. He's already waiting. That's nice, but I don't have anything to tell you. It's my friend you're looking for, not me.
He takes another drag of his unfiltered cigarette and looks around. It's getting dark and the neighboring windows have lit up one by one.
Besides, I've got to run. To the city. It's a beautiful night.
A man on high heels stumbles out of a basement club, music blasting over the entire district. It's chilly, and as the chemicals hit his nervous system, 1,000 shivers ripple through his body.
We'll talk. Just not tonight. Take care, all right?
And he's gone again. Looks like it's becoming a theme for him.
Officers of the Revachol Citizens Militia.
You shouldn't be seeing him in an intimate setting. For some reason you feel this man is your superior. Superior, but he's not in the command chain.
My name is Charles Vildrouin, and I am an official with the coalition government. I work for the Institute of Price Stabilité on assignment from Sur-la-Clé. I heard you talking to my friend outside. Very good. Super. I am here to assist you in any way possible. Ask me about the hanging.
Hanging? What a drag. He seems like a cultured gentleman. You should ask him about the finer things.
Oh yes, my friend has a great eye for these things. He refuses to tell me where it came from. It's a mystery. I believe they call this type of frame industrial. It's very comfy. That's really all I can tell you about it. I'm sorry to say I did, officer. Officer, it's very difficult to describe what I saw that night. It was so surreal to me, like in a play.
He holds out his hands and blossoms his fingers, like a drama teacher setting the scene.
No. I mean, it was so strange. I could barely believe what was happening. I was on the balcony when it happened, getting some fresh air. I remember that first they came in, carrying what looked like a body. And then I saw all the surrounding windows go dead, one by one. That's when I understood. I should not be seeing this. I couldn't see their faces well, and there were quite a few of them. But they were very loud and very Martinez. Let's just say that the laboring classes can get rather expressive with their profanities. I couldn't tell you exactly. Less than 10. Maybe 8? I went back inside.
Yes, back inside. Keep yourself safe from the killing.
Officer, the yard was pitch black. There was nothing to see, but I could still hear their voices. They were threatening to kill that poor man. All men, I presume, but again, I couldn't see very clearly. I believe they were mostly white, though I believe I saw 2 Areopagites among them, and I am quite certain that one spoke with a Mesk accent. Well, that's the strangest part, officer. Nothing happened. It was oddly quiet for a public lynching. Eventually, their shouts died down, and that was all. There were no gunshots, no celebratory shouts, no anything. You're right, of course. That is what one is supposed to do in such circumstances. I was simply in shock. I'm afraid I don't have anything else to add. All I can say is that it was late. No, I didn't see the corpse until the following day. Of course, anything I can do to assist the RCM. The Coalition is only looking out for the price stability. Inflation is a killer, like a heart disease blocking the normal circulation of the economy. It must be controlled. The economy impacts the entire international community, which is why it requires international oversight. It is the most important thing. It's the central goal of any sound monetary policy. Maintaining the price stability is essential to maintaining high levels of economic activity, which is essential for maintaining high levels of employment, which is essential for maintaining the social stability. Take your daily bread, for example. Too much inflation, bread becomes too expensive. Too much deflation, it becomes too cheap for bakers to produce. That's why the Institute of Price Stability works to keep inflation just below 2%. But not too far below, no. Too below is also bad. Below, but close to 2%. The Coalition believes in the importance of informing the public about the benefits of the price stability. Transparency is one of our principles. Would you like an informational pamphlet? A sound monetary policy is essential for addressing uncertainty. Stability is the raison d'être of the moral intern. It's the reason why I identify as a moralist. But oh, I don't have my leaflets on me today. That's too bad. You can always call our information line. Making information available is part of the moral intern's commitment to transparency. La communauté internationale is what Revacholians colloquially call the Coalition. In other words, the nations that stopped the disaster of the revolution. Your employer, technically speaking. The governing authority of Revachol. The RCM is but one part of this provisional administration. It's the International Organization for Moralists, hence Moralist International. The Institute of Price Stability is just one of its many mind babies, as is the Coalition. But of course, because moralists believe in a normal, stable world governed by democratic values. The Occident is part of the normal world. Oranier, sur la clé. Martinez? No. Martinez is something else. Revachol is generally difficult. It's led by an interim government, which means it hasn't yet achieved full democracy. But they are working towards it. You're all doing very well here, relatively speaking. Is this option D usually the most reasonable answer? Sounds like you're a moralist indeed, my friend. Welcome. Moralism is all about compromise and achieving the achievable. It's pragmatic, realistic, and level-headed, an ideology for doers. Are you a doer, my friend? Now, enough of this delightful political interlude. Was there anything else you wanted to ask? What's there to say? Sur-la-Clé is a modern, urbanized country that measures very high on the Human Development and Freedom Index. Mostly, though, it's known as the executive heart of EPIS. Moreover, it is a great sponsor of less emerged countries. Revachol is only one of its many darlings whose progress it supports and cherishes.
Darlings? That can't be an official designation.
Oh, yes. Sur-la-Clé is mega benevolent to its darlings.
What is it about this benevolence that makes you break out in sweat and want to run for the hills?
Oranje is an exemplary nation who, as a core member of EPIS, contributes 28% of our annual budget. Next to Sur-la-Clé, Oranje is probably the most prominent member of the international community. Oranje's economy is one of the most advanced in the world. It has successfully transitioned from heavy industry to advanced services and generally acts as an engine for sustainable change in the international community.
But that didn't tell you anything about Oranje.
About what? Oh, it's very urban and very well organized. Their streets are clean, their horse cars run on time, the people are polite and efficient. Like I said, they are an example for less emerged nations to follow. Oranje is an exemplary nation who, as a core member of EPIS, contributes 28% of our annual budget. As founding members, they are both very EPIS. Oranje carries a lot of political weight, while Sur-la-Clé takes care of the business side of things. Sur-la-Clé hosts the headquarters of the major EPIS institutions. Oranje's economy is one of the most advanced in the world. It has successfully transitioned from heavy industry...
But that didn't tell you anything about Oranje.
About what? Oh, it's very urban and very well organized. Their streets are clean, their horse cars run on time, the people are polite and efficient. Like I said, yes, as I said before, I am a commissioner from Sur-la-Clé working for the Institute of Price Stabilité. This is one of the main projects of the Moral Inter.
Wait, there isn't actually an Institute of Price Stability, is there? Or maybe there is. God, it's impossible to understand whether someone from the Moral Intern is joking or not.
It's the International Organization for Moralists, hence Moralist International. But of course, because moralists believe in a normal, stable world governed by democratic values. Martinez? No. Martinez is something else. Revachol is generally difficult. It's led by an interim government, which means... But they are working towards it. You're all doing very well here, relatively speaking. Your full autonomy is important, I agree. But it's an ongoing process. Nothing happens overnight. Now, enough of this delightful political interlude. Was there anything else you wanted to ask? Well, I'm renovating it. It is an interesting project. The building used to be a 12-story skyscraper before the cannons took the top 4 stories off. This, of course, happened when the coalition forces landed here. You could say I'm undoing some of the material damage the international community caused when we arrived here. Whatever you wish, officer. Ah, my friend. My friend is a good young man. His family immigrated here from Kedra, and life has not been easy for him. But he understands the importance of education. He has taken his future into his own hands, and that's all that matters. Kedra is a candidate member of APIS. But, between you and me, their potential membership is a more contentious issue. That it's never going to happen. They entered negotiations in 21, and it's been pending ever since. EPIS is a very special program developed by the Moral Intern to support certain Occidental nations. It began as a unified system of weights and measures, which proved to be a wild success. Nothing but kilograms and centimeters as far as the eye can see.
God, yes. Sweet standardization. The backbone of rationality and commerce.
It was such a wild success that we expanded it into an economic union for the processing of steel. Another success. And between you and me, the Moral Intern feels emboldened by this success. Emboldened to take EPIS to the next level. Why, it stands for progress and stability, like the Moral Intern as a whole. It's been such a wild, extraordinary success thus far. We are very excited to take it to the next level. A supranational political alliance. The United States of Occident. You mean Revachol? No, it's going to have transparent democracy. It's one day going to be a candidate member of EPIS, sure.
Except that candidate members never become full members, do they?
No, candidate members do become members. Why do we even have the whole system in place if they don't? It just takes time. Time and evaluation. But we were talking about my friend here, not politics. Kedra is a candidate member of APIS. But, between you and me, their potential membership is a more contentious issue. That it's never going to happen. They entered negotiations in 21, and it's been pending ever since. It's warm. It's also known for its mandarin trees and dust storms from Supramundi. Kedra's an emerging market, but it still has a long way to go. Maybe that's why my friend's ménage decided to emigrate. How did any of us become friends? Bad things happening on the Insulindian Isola? Oil platforms ablaze in the night? Civil wars lasting for years? Finally, the international community is forced to step in. Au contraire, it's how millions of people end up where they are, meeting the people they meet. It's how I came here, and my friend too. How did any of us become friends? Bad things happening on the Insulindian Isola? Oil platforms ablaze in the night? Civil wars lasting for years? Finally, the international community is forced to step in. Au contraire, it's how millions of people end up where they are, meeting the people they meet. It's how I came here, and my friend too. Sorry, who? But I told you, officer, he's a bright young man here to pursue his education. Education is the foundation of our future, especially the arts. It is a cornerstone of our civilization. He's deeply enmeshed in the study of the fine arts, yes. He's a truly free spirit. He likes all the arts. Perhaps graphic design, printmaking, who knows? The world is open wide for a talented youth like him. Sorry, who? But I told you, officer. He's a bright young man here to... Officer, you have to understand. I can't give you his personal information. I'm sure you have your own methods and databases, right? Please don't put me in this situation. He's deeply enmeshed in the study of the fine arts, yes. He's a truly free spirit. He likes all the arts. Perhaps graphic design, printmaking, who knows? The world is open wide for a talented youth like him. I'm just enjoying the view. Listen. The Insulindian Bay. This place used to be a luxury accommodation before the revolution. Apartments, of course, were much bigger then. A few walls have been added here and there, leaving some of the tenants without a private bathroom or a kitchen. But the million real view stays. You can't take that away. My friend comes and goes. I'm sure you'll see him around. He's a busy bee.
A busy bee? What an odd choice of words.
I'm just enjoying the view. We're old friends. Nothing's taboo between us. He comes and goes. I'm sure you'll see him around. He's very active. I'm all ears, officer. A moment, officer. Do you have everything you need from me? I'm afraid we won't have the chance to speak again once you leave. It's against diplomatic best practices for an official in my position to be discussing murders with local militiamen. And I'm pressed for time. After you leave, I should be leaving as well.
That's not the real reason he's so apprehensive. Men in his position shouldn't be seen loitering around in underprivileged young men's apartments in the middle of the night.
Sure, go ahead. It's a beautiful space. Let me know if you have any further questions. Was there anything else? Of course. I'm glad I could help.
plaster cast bust depicts a middle-aged man with impressive sideburns. The name on the plinth reads Kraz Marzov. A poor communard, from the looks of it. The room is barely bigger than a closet. The bust doesn't reply. The hallway behind the door is empty. No one heard your words. The bust doesn't reply. The hallway behind the door is empty. No one heard your words.
Give me a moment. Ask away, policeman.
She mumbles some kind of a response.
I'm no one. Just an old woman who cleans these hallways. If you could call, it's barely bigger.
And all she gets, too. The coastal wind beats down hard. She hasn't spoken to anyone for a while.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? What did you think I was using? Aquarels? This shit is pumped out of government vehicles. You ain't seen nothing yet, piggy boo. Ooh. Not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret. I'm a coal miner. It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. Like me. Right now, I'm doing nothing at all. Shoot, piggy. It's what you do, isn't it? Can't you tell? I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words. This place is severely lacking in havoc. Not even the occasional trash can fire to break up the tedium. I thought I'd mix it up, you know, summon the forces of crime and social chaos with a wall-sized invitation. Yeah? Lying is cool, I guess.
inconspicuous pile of the roofing material Eternite. An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material Eternite. Because there's a secret door hidden behind the panels of Eternite. That's why they're too orderly. There it is. You see a shabby little door. Be still, my beating heart. It's amphetamine, sweet amphetamine. Yes, there isn't enough anyway. You'd only be fooling yourself. see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. Hard to say. No, these tracks are not interesting at all. Let the street sweeper just sweep them away. Cop habit. You look at everything. This isn't case related, you think.
Can I help you?
You see a heavy steel door with a The bed is still cold from the broken window, and not too inviting, but it's... The bed is still cold from the wind blowing in from the broken window. The mattress creaks as you close your eyes and try your hardest to fall asleep.
Here we are again, my broken bird. The waves are coming, carrying you away. But you can't go. No, you have to stay. Always half aware of yourself. You're not cooperating. It's your disgusting body. Even through your sleep you feel a vague discomfort suffusing it. Your belly and your sides are unpleasantly tender. You wish you could curl up into a fetal ball of safety. But you cannot, because of the pain.
And there's a lot of it, ever present in your organs. It's like every one of them has their own nasty song to sing. That pain in your right side is your enlarged liver, by the way. As for your kidneys, you've really been compounding the damage lately.
There's no dignity here. Only reflections of your body mass. Flashes of the day. You're just stuck here, in the half-world. Could try looking at other people. Really looking. But why would you want to start doing that? Shh. sure you do. They're all so friendly, aren't they?
Some of them are. Some of them are nice. Others are scared. At least they're interesting. Each one has a process just like yours, running in the space between their ears, full of secrets.
What do you think you're doing right now? Coming to some greater awareness? Look at all these lights, blinking in and out of existence. Thoughts! You're just pretending that you're asleep, even to yourself, while the world goes on without you.
Let it. Let it.
But it never seems to let you go, does it? Time to rise and wipe that shining sweat off as best you can. Gather your bearings. Rock and roll.
Yes? What do you want to know? Ah, yes. The case brief you missed. Now I remember. Three days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. I was told we should approach the death as part of this dispute. They didn't identify themselves in any way. The tone was muffled using a device of some sort. The desk could... There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers' union is the de facto police in Martinez. Now it appears they've started executing too. We cannot allow that. Just to be clear, we are police officers. It's our job to find the killer. That's the case. Uncover and arrest the killer. You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you again? 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. Okay then. Was there anything else you wanted to know? Good.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Yes. The armor was produced by Fairweather in their facilities in Bétancourt, sur la Clé in 42. It was part of a special order for Corps de Pharmacie, a security firm contracted to protect the interests of Oranese pharmaceutical companies in the Seminine conflict. So, it seems the armor went to Seminine. That's where the paper trail ends, though. Even the firm has proven difficult to track. Corps de Pharmacie has been renamed several times over in the years since the armor was issued. The most recently registered firm that the ICP has been able to connect to the CDP is a military contractor called Crenel, and the one before it was Downwell. I think they might be the same contractor.
A suit of armor like this would have been manufactured with a particular person's physique in mind. You should ask for whom this suit was fitted.
Hard to say. The client list is rather diverse and incomplete. The only constant seems to be that the mercenaries are always deployed in third and fourth world countries. Yes, but the ICP tends to be reluctant to share private sector records. I could try to talk them into it, though. Sure. Call back tomorrow. Hopefully I will have more information for you then. Not yet, but I was able to convince the database people to share private sector information. They promised to get back to me by tomorrow morning. 57's over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers, a radio on a hook. As you tap on the gauge, the indicator pin jerks as if startled. It's in the large orange sector, indicating the engine is warm. Next to...
Now, that's enough fun with the foldable headlights.
A rusting control panel with loose wires dangling out from the hole. You grab the handle and pull the lever up. As soon as the metal connects, the waterlock starts moving.
Okay, if we ever need to get to the coast, then this is the way. But please, contain your wanderlust for now. I don't want us to get sidetracked, what with everything that's going on.
Focus on one thing, achieve it, then the next, he thinks. That's the task chain. Banged-up motor carriage lies. Remember the tire tracks in Martinez? This is where they were leading.
It appears to be so. I agree. We should definitely investigate.
You get a sudden, sinking feeling. Stomach at why the doom and gloom? It's just a sunken motor carriage. Some motor carriages are bound to end up in the sea. The motor carriage is properly stuck in the ice. Getting it out would require a team of rust, moss, and sea life have already claimed it for themselves and initiated a slow decomposition process. The logo is too deep in the murky water. You can't make it out, but you do see a monkfish float by.
The ice hasn't closed around the vehicle yet. My guess is it's been here since last Saturday or Sunday.
The estimate is correct. The incident probably occurred on Sunday evening. Your mocking tone finds no response, but the motion of the waves.
I did not. But I'd say it has been here since last Saturday or Sunday.
Your mocking tone finds no response, but the motion of the waves.
Yes, quite. Let's wait for the low tide and see what's inside.
Great idea. Then we can get the things inside. The joyrider must have left something good inside. Guns, papers, maybe a cool jacket. A joyrider jacket.
I don't know. An hour or two, tops?
As you sit down in the old, rusty playground, the world around you becomes very silent. Nothing but the sound of seagulls high above in the sky, echoing like distant laughter. Ice cracks around the blue motor carriage in the sea.
Yes, it does.
The tune on your lips forms a strange yet undeniably beautiful contrast with the surrounding bleakness. The lieutenant gives you a quick glance. Then, still looking straight ahead, he joins you with a higher pitch. Two birds on a wire, whistling by the seaside, looking at the water and a sunken car. The wind blows. In the distance, behind the church, some vagrants are having an argument over a bag of tea. The clouds pass in the sky, and the shadow of the swing moves like the hour hand on a timepiece. Looks like this might take a while. Time to present a good topic for discussion.
My dad and mom are both half Seolite.
Clouds on the horizon grow darker, and the shadow of the swing set keeps climbing. You hear the distant rumble of the city. 30 minutes pass.
Luckily, I am already a member of an independent organization, and therefore do not have to choose between a rock and a hard place.
Your voice echoes on the water, strange and out of place in the environment. 30 more minutes pass.
Detective, I've been able to make out the mark ever since we arrived. I find it odd that you haven't. It's a Coupris, Model 40. It is a simple and rugged machine, favored by working men, government offices, firefighters, animal control people, you know, those kinds of people. Yes, 41. What do you think it stands for?
It's as if he knows what it stands for, but wants you to say it. It's pedagogical. Does he know something about the driver of this vehicle?
But it could also be the number of a police precinct. Precinct 41. Your precinct.
A massive pit opens up in your stomach, and the most terrible feeling comes over you. You feel like you're about to faint and fall off the swing. Your hands get clammy, and the air tastes sour to breathe. Oh God, Harry. Oh God, Harry. What did you do? No. Just nope. Say no to this, Harry.
Yes, your car is in the sea. Face it, so we can start dealing with this.
The lieutenant just shakes his head.
I'm afraid so, yes. It looks like you drove your police motor carriage into the sea after you jumped across the canal. Of whom? I don't think so. If anything, you were probably drunk.
Probably. Try definitely.
Of whom? I don't think so. If anything, you were probably drunk.
Probably. Try definitely.
Detective, we don't. A rescue operation really isn't viable at this point. I'm afraid it will have to be there like that for many years. Look at it. Parts of it might be salvageable, but overall, this machine is a write-off. That is very unlikely. All the electrics are toast. That goes for the electromagnetic steering and brake systems as well. You'd be lucky to find one undamaged component in there. In a few months, there will be nothing but rust left of this vehicle. It'll be cheaper to buy a new one. Well, not cheaper. This motor carriage costs 40,000 real. But in the long run, it still makes more sense to buy a new machine than try to refurbish this. Let's face it, this is a substantial loss to your district's budget. I mean, my station only has 4 other vehicles in addition to my kinema.
This was 20% of the station's vehicular budget.
People are more valuable.
People, yes, but not you. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and doesn't say anything.
You can still whistle. Besides, the night is always darkest before the dawn. Yes, let's go take a look.
The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comfortable.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when Lieutenant Kitsuragi is gone.
Tequila! Good to see you. How's business? How's the whole reality situation treating you? So what's happening?
Good to see you, friend. Do I have deals set up for you, buddy boy?
Does he actually know you? Or is he just shopkeep friendly?
So what do you want? I got smokes. They're cheap. Very cheap. I got Pilsner. Sure, friend. You know it.
Don't mind old Rosemary here. He's a buffoon. Let's have a word after your high-concept transactions. I'll give you the lowdown.
Oh. The system's been good to old Rosemary here, and I'm milking her like a bitch goat in the backyard. You see, friend, man makes his own luck, and I made mine real good. Got my hands on 3 bottles of liquor exquise, sold 2 to the fellows around here, and immediately invested the profit. Bought cigarettes, bought beer, even bought a bit of speed. And look at me now. I've got everyone on my hook.
The hook? Where is it? I can't see it.
Of course, of course, of course. It is what it is, you know. What it's always been. People, buddy boy. It's in the civilized world, it's a custom to tip the shopkeep, friend. But come back anyway.
Don't you call her? Yeah! Don't call Abigail! Abigail, don't you fucking...
You're not going to get anything out of this guy. He's too drunk. Never thought you'd see such a thing in your life. But this guy's a little...
Don't call Abigail!
The man hiccups, then mumbles something unintelligible. He snorts and beckons you to lean in.
Don't call Abigail! Don't call Abigail! Don't you fucking call her! Hear me? Abigail?
There's no use in yelling at drunks. He's barely holding it together.
The drunk man starts coughing a really disgusting, hacking cough. He does not sound well at all.
Don't call.
There was little chance he'd be a reliable witness anyway.
drop in temperature, an easy flow of air, an empty street. Before you, a thoroughfare unjammed with lorries. No more drivers smoking on hitch steps. Just silence. Chemically sweetened. Across the road, a forgotten bus stop. Corrosion has opened a hole in its roof. An elm tree watches over the building. Its branches are dripping with rain and snow. The road is smooth and motley, craters filled with a black asphalt. The asphalt, first laid, is grey already. A row of tenements are under construction in the distance. A tub warm with water, white with soap. A man bathes while radio waves transmit the lottery numbers. 4, 18, 21, 4, 1. A modern washing machine rattles a drawer full of silverware. Number 312D. Young girls used to come here huddled up, hoping for more warmth than their thin coats give them. The bus took them to school. It has not run for 8 years. There were not enough girls to sustain its cost. Craters pocked the surface. Children played in them until heavy trucks full of black pitch rolled in. The landowners have filled the craters with money. It is a vital artery of the flow of trade. The wind moves the aerosol. A detective
mister?
She clutches a small stuffed animal. Occasionally, she twirls it around.
Oh, I had gloves. Very big ones. Heavy, too.
Where did you get these gloves?
Found them when Lemmy and I were playing hide and seek. In an empty house. Where no one lives. I think someone hid them there.
She doesn't want you to think she stole them.
I hid them. The twins were gonna take them. They're stupid.
We're going to need those gloves. It's for important police business.
Oh. They're in my sandcastle. Behind our house. Under the sand. You can break the castle. It's not very good. My mom's outside, and I don't really know about my dad. My mom's outside, and I don't really know about my dad. It's a grouse!
You might be able to get on Gart's good side if you replace the broken skewer you almost certainly broke.
I don't know. Sure. I mean, you already took it. I don't like it anyway. It looks angry. It's Lammy! He's my friend. Sort of. Like...
Lambie is a stuffed lamb that, admittedly, has seen better days. One of the eye buttons is missing, and the fur is tattered in several...
Lammy usually doesn't like strangers. But you're also fuzzy, like Lammy. It's Lammy!
Lambie is a stuffed lamb that, admittedly, has seen better days. One of the eye buttons is...
Yes. Lammy has lived a long life. Lammy was a... No! That's not it! You know...
I think she means revolutionary.
Yes! Lammy was a revolutionary. It's Lammy!
Lambie is a stuffed lamb that...
Yes. Very soft. Isn't he soft? Bye!
Weather has not been kind to Lily's little sandcastle. The once mighty towers are quickly eroding away. You can see something shining back to you from what must have been...
The little castle? The reigning lord must have come upon some really tough times to let it sleep in such decrepitude.
The walls and floors give way to the giant's greed, collapse and present you with a pair of ceramic gauntlets.
Congratulations. That's the gauntlets down then. We're doing good on...
more than twice your height stands shut in front of you. Nothing happens, only the sound of the padlock rattling against the door.
I don't think that's going to work.
High above, the wind wraps the church in its rush, cold and wet from the ocean bay.
There is a hole in my heart.
The lieutenant looks at the padlock. He didn't hear you asking. You were quiet enough. The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. You see a yellow circle with two X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but what the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. The curve makes it smile, and the X's make it dead. There is something blindingly modern about this symbol. Its modernness puts to shame everything you've seen before. It's the contrast between the cheery, chemical yellow and the rigor mortis. As if the cheery guy didn't know he was dead, or the dead guy didn't care that he was. Either way, you get the sense the forces of future are at work here. He takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to thoroughly wipe them clean before inspecting the sticker. Then he looks up, pauses, and replies.
No. Looks like a dead man smiling. Suggests junior delinquency. For Revachol ZOC, the moral intern defined junior delinquents as minors between the ages of 10 and 16 who have committed an act in violation of the law. These acts aren't called crimes as they would be for adults. I haven't seen that sticker before, and I'm not a youth. That level of conceptual thinking is not part of my skill set.
The padlock passes through a staple that's been hastily attached to the wood. Closer inspection reveals that one of the screws is not a screw at all, but a nail. The work has been done recently and is unprofessional, to say the least. Should you want to get through, it might be easier to just pry the whole thing off.
Maybe we should circle the building first and look for another way. The building has seen enough mistreatment. Can you hear the pulsing bass underneath the wind? A sure sign of junior delinquency, somewhere east of here.
There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb. Looks like today was a gold star day. A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use it to call someone, unless you're out of change. You hear the tone. The machine is inoperable. The smell. It's awful and familiar. Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency, that faintly cloying sweetness. Something cold wakes in the signs of decaying meat. It announces itself from 24 meters away. A warning, a memento mori. The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose.
Eyes up, detective. Something's not right here.
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper. In the trash bin, 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter. Is all.
A tragedy.
Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra. Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarettes, known for their... Now, this makes partying look bad. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads Shish Kebab Revachol. It's no older than a day or two. No mold yet. A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the right.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into 2. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your...
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. You have to be quite inebriated to fall that bad. Well over a liter of pure ethanol, 3 bottles of wine, or 1.5 of spirits. Or maybe it was just dark. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his moustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty... They screech under your feet ominously. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him. A dried chunk of blood. This is what killed him.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you? Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
A .75 liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside. It's mid-market spirits with a slight touch of menthol. The man meant to enjoy himself, have a good time.
Tear all around us. I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
Grabowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too?
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
At least this man knew how to party. Imagine the same scene without the bottle. Now that would be just sad.
We do know that he was married. But you're right. Let's not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged man found dead on the Martinez boardwalk. Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive. No, I don't see anything that points in that direction. For now, let's treat this case as a simple, albeit sad, accident, unrelated to the murder case.
Yes, but what if there's a killer on the loose? 2 suspicious deaths in such a short time frame.
A sequence killer? There's nothing that connects those 2 bodies. This is a completely different case. An accident. It's possible, but let's take it step by step. We still haven't identified the man. Oh, yes. Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, unpredictable behavior. But I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure. No,
Yes, but what if there's a killer on the loose? 2 suspicious deaths.
Without any further evidence, yes. What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the box.
Sometimes a kebab is just a kebab.
They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean. It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body. From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle. A field autopsy isn't necessary if the cause of death doesn't appear to be criminal, and this looks like a simple accident to me. I'd say we should just write down head trauma in the autopsy report and leave it at that. It would save us at least 2 hours of unnecessary work. Maybe, but we don't really have much time or resources to spare. The guys at processing will take care of the rest. No need to rush.
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash. Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. The cloth, if you can still call it that, makes a soft crunching sound as you thrust your finger into it. It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth. It seems likely that it was left in the surf until someone laid it out on this fence to dry out. Unfortunately, that just seems to have stiffened it into a shapeless mass.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you. A clue? You think our suspect is a seagull who's been defecating on unsuspecting jacket? Me neither.
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guy.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it. To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Oh no, it's all right. I'm just busy. Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the A81. Oh, good. We should really be getting back. Gary could use a hot shower and a warm bed.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary! We can go soon! If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we go in.
For all his passion, this man is diligent and patient. You could learn things from him.
Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it. Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists in our present case. It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolve, without studying a live specimen. I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm, so,
Seems puny, to be honest.
Typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of of any cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long,
would be glory itself.
very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts. Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition. Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore. I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis. Yes. The females don't need males to reproduce. Makes it easier for a species to survive in adverse conditions. Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate. Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick. Yes. Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can't get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton. Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course, but we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to satiate your skepticism. They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought. Yes. What? and I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we've finished with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morel. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers. Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine. Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
His spirit may be willing, but his body might be too old to endure the rigors of the coast.
No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
He's dead set on this.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence. There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast, It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them... You should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
That seemed like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture? Even relative to examining a week-old corpse, I'm not sure mucking about in the reeds qualifies as fun. But have it your way, detective.
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
That's highly unlikely, officer. And in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed.
Did you hear that? Pheromones. You were right about the teenagers.
Oh, I doubt there is any connection there. Anyway, these pheromones will attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Should last you about a week. Wise choice.
This is the smell of dying reeds, of longing crumbling.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
Right, which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt.
I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both. It's not child's play, just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often. Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. My methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen.
Your nerve endings tell you there is no such thing as a positive surprise.
No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close. Close enough to keep trying. Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the Phasmid. I keep a very open mind.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration. No. Very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid. Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemnee, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. Two are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection. Yes, the Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves. More so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching. In fact, it is 0.05%. Ever more magnificent should our search contribute to making that number 0.075%.
He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
Yes? All right. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it, since you've offered to help. You need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard about from Lena, or his friend Gary. He won't just talk.
A willow person. It's a long story. One non-specialists would find rather dull.
Willow people? Not at all.
They're not people, really. Some argue they aren't really animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees. They're very, very thin, almost flat in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping themselves around trees and blending in with the tree bark. In that way, they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we're looking for here. You probably have. Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paint. It was a bright lavender colour. I was hoping one of the willow people would get paint on it and not be able to camouflage itself. After waiting in hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees, a lavender shadow dashing through the grove. I chased it with a net. Not very elegant. You can't be elegant in the field. And, well, it was faster than me.
A lavender shadow.
I know you think we were snacking on funny mushrooms. It's easier to mock someone than to admit that the world might be more interesting than you've imagined. Furthermore, I'm not saying it was a confirmed sighting. I'm painfully aware of what goes into verifying such things. There is a serious possibility that I saw a squirrel or a trick of the light. I am my own harshest critic.
He makes it a real point here to sound falsifiable.
Confirmed. It's 100% verified and meets all the standards of an authentic cryptid sighting. Formerly the most dangerous, yes. But do you know the most dangerous living cryptid?
He doesn't want to make it feel like you knowing it is some big deal.
The most dangerous cryptid is a carnivorous ruminant, known colloquially as the dread moose. Yes, the dread moose subsists entirely on flesh. It has even been known to dig up fresh graves in search of sustenance. Human remains have been found deep in the forest, torn apart, then trampled into the mulch by large hooves. Infer from that what you will. Just like an ordinary Arden moose. You can't. That's what makes it so dreadful and hard to identify.
A moose that looks like any other moose. What's going on here? He's kidding, right?
The bodies found in the forest are just one piece of physical evidence. There's more. The recent surge in the moose population has hidden carnivores. The dread moose are effectively removing competition for both themselves and their evolutionary cousins. Moose are already being hunted for sport. Can you imagine what would happen if they came to be viewed as predators? The carnivorous moose are a very young species, the result of a genetic mutation that fared well in the process of natural selection. It makes sense that such a majestic animal with natural weapons, antlers, would come to rule the forest. The only strange thing is that it took so long. One slaughterhouse at the outskirts of the woods in Vasa reported that its staff kept seeing moose in the distance. The moose would just stare at the building, as though they were waiting for something, its eyes bloodshot and full of cruelty. And that's not all. Some of the slaughterhouse apprentices went hiking by a nearby creek and saw a moose nibbling on an unidentified carcass.
This isn't something unique. Various species of deer have been known to scavenge when plant food is scarce.
Anyway, there is more than enough evidence to justify a thorough search for the dread moose. Let's close the subject, before it turns into an argument.
Here is a man who has had more than his fair share of heated arguments, and would, surprising as it may seem, prefer not to have any more.
That's impressive, I guess. But have you seen it with your own eyes? Of course you haven't. I haven't had a chance to travel to Coco North. No. And I likely never will. The Samaskill desert region has been embroiled in a small civil war for the last 8 years. I fear this mindless barbarism may have wiped out the elusive creature entirely. Sightings of towering luminosities have grown rare recently, while they once used to be constant.
Yes, sightings of mirages are constant. A mirage is a constant phenomenon that people have no time to report when a war is going on. It remains unclear what this has got to do with you seeing it, as he was inquiring before. He was just being defensive.
Oh, everyone knows about that one, thanks to Professor Mijanu being the talk of the town for a time.
A bit of jealousy there. He'd want that glory, truth be told, even if he'd have to inject himself with bacteria to get it.
Although, probably because her life ended as a result of her work in Gutler, no one remembers her contributions to the search for the Nong Ok. A flightless cursor owl, found in the Seminine Isles. Its long legs permit the Nongok to run faster than any other avian. Perhaps any other animal. Who knows? When it's not hunting its prey in this manner, the Ock hangs from tree branches, like a bat, waiting to dive on hapless prey below on the jungle floor. Mijanu liked extreme animals, you see. One of the few figures of the academic establishment I respect. Really a shame she disappeared. Oh, decades ago. In the 30s. I didn't know her personally, of course. The chasm of academic pretension still stood before us, even though she had unusual courage for someone from the other side. Oh.
A bit of jealousy there.
Although, probably because her life ended as a yes. Probably. No offense, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I don't know what I would have done if Lena hadn't persuaded me to go back to field research. You should ask her if you want interesting stories. Me? I'm not a people person, unless you haven't noticed. And I don't make a good lecturer. My strength lies in field work and persistence. By all means.
Hello, I'm Gary. Very generous of you to help us out, officer. Yellow man. I mean, officer.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrows slightly and takes out his notebook. Yellow man. Interesting. This is something to ask him about, after a little probing first.
I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization. I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here.
Degenerates? This man respects authority too much. to see the truth inscribed upon thine own visage. Pretend thou art a paragon of virtue.
Oh, I didn't mean it in any scientific way.
Serious question time. This man is no innocent. No one is.
Oh, so that's what the RCM in Martinez is about. Great. Great to hear someone's finally taking care of that.
So you do know something about it?
No. Nothing. He was some kind of mercenary. But everyone here knows that. I'm just glad to hear you're looking into it. That's all.
He didn't kill him or anything, but there's something going on here.
My mug? Why would you think that? Really? I hear it all the time. All in jest, of course. No offense meant to anyone. Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. I know I shouldn't have, and I am very sorry, officer. You're not going to find me, are you? Whew. Thank you. You won't regret this. I won't use another man's property to dump my garbage ever again. I don't know what got into me, really. Work has been stressful lately. Damn Koiko's price dumping us out of competition.
What did you do, Gary?
Nothing. Just answering some questions. Helping out the law.
Here we go. Start pumping that sweet info.
I know a guy who works with the trash collection services, CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the trash containers of Martinez. So I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. The damn Bohemians run it like a mob. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have disgraced myself.
Disgraced? No need for the histrionic, sir. It was, after all, just a trash container.
Officer, please. Let me explain. It's not like that. I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes lying around in the yard, smelling. People are animals, you know? Then I came out to clean up the rags because no one else would. I put them into the Whirling's trash, along with a broken mug, admittedly. Okay, I was coming to throw the mug away, and, well, I threw the mug there and the clothes too.
Right. It was just civic duty.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. Civic duty. Armor? No. I mean, yes. Of course. I know he was wearing armor, but I don't know anything about it.
An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit more wrongdoing.
I hope I could help your investigation, in my small way.
Don't be so relieved yet, Gary. This bad cop may have been in your apartment, admiring your mug collection. Perhaps a little intimidation?
No. I help Morell with research sometimes, and I've learned some things along the way. But I don't usually go in for picnics like this on my own. Not many Sealites here, or anywhere, other than Sale. I meant no offense, truly. No problem at all. Not many Sealites here, or anywhere, other than Sale. I meant no offense, truly. Oh, yes. Of course he is. I was just speaking about his connections. Let's change the subject, okay? Sure do, officer. In my home. Yes. When I was going to... How did you know? Is this about the Union? Did the big man open the door? So you work for Everard Clare? Officer, please tell him we're good. No, tell him I'll make it up to him. What have I done? He'll send the muscle after me. I was probably talking too loud in the whirling the other night. About some theories. Stupid. Shouldn't have run my mouth loud like that. I won't do it again. If there's anything I can do to assist you, or the Union, just ask, okay? I'll try to help if I can.
This scared him proper. He's positively melting from fear. Has to prop himself up with a lot of anger to keep it together.
The weather vane has turned. He cannot be unturned.
He clearly liked his squirming. He may even have changed his mind about the whole door-opening operation. You see a once bright mural towering above you.
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with. You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Heilostam. You must be Kim Kitsuragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, hypertext. Young Carp and the collection of cultural hyperlinks.
He's just making up fancy words. This doesn't mean anything.
Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall. No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers. Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into verbs lately.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
Well, get a load of this guy. He really enjoys his trivia. The Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building. What not a lot of people know is, this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
Hold on. What's R&D? It looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
Apologies, it's an acronym for research and development. They don't use it anymore. You're probably more familiar with RTD, Research and Technological Development.
Mea culpa. You are not familiar with that one either. This man is a bookhead.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve. Or should I say, they were developing an ace up their sleeve? I'm mixing my metaphors here. It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer. An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution, revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet. Indeed, what?
The revolution!
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes. Possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins. All of this was built by Feld, even a boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D. Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A pleasure wheel?
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans. Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers...
Wait, is he saying that we should just bypass the excesses of the revolution?
Tape computers. They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases, the most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars. What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album Bombessier d'Insolente. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention. Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
Buckle up.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Humpty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Juice joined the team, trying to...
He did it. He said, Humpty Dumpty Dum Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world. What the hell is a Humpty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juiced?
The Humpty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Arts. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to... In fact, I'm not. The Humpty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
Even one would be very useful. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to the precious device. But so they did. The Feld playback experiment vanished into the fires of 07. Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the Feld playback experience, but those are incorrect. Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and ashes remain inside that building. Actually, no one knows.
Buckle up.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Humpty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort.
He did it. He said, Humpty Dumpty Dum Center, like it's the most natural thing in... What the hell is a Humpty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juiced?
The Humpty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Arts. the exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to... In fact, I'm not. The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
Very, very cool. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionary setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The felt playback experiment vanished into the fires of '07. Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the felt playback experience. But those are... who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, actually no one knows.
Buckle up.
10 years ago...
He did it. What the hell is a Wompty?
Yes, tape computers and Feld electrical. But of course, what else? I do have some money, yes, but that's not what's really important here.
He's not gonna give you money. What are you doing? Clearly you were just profiling. No, I mean, come on. You need the money. If it's not a thing, he can give you some.
Oh no, I don't have it on me, officer. I was talking in more general terms. I'm just spending time with my kid here, showing him around the lesser-known parts of our hometown. It wouldn't be wise to carry huge amounts of cash on such expeditions.
Not that he would have to worry about being robbed. He looks surprisingly buff. Does he work out?
I do some Lomantang stick fighting now and then.
Lo Mantang stick fighting is a form of martial arts originating from the island of Lo Mantang. It uses slender wooden sticks for confronting the opponent.
Actually, a great many cultures have their own version of stick fighting, such as the sacred Mabolo tradition of the Harley people, a name deriving from the butterfruit tree traditionally used for crafting the long, slender sticks, whereas the sticks used in other cultures.
You doze off as he paints you a comprehensive picture of the history of stick fighting among mankind, seasoning it with unexpected pop culture references. Man, he's good at speaking. People must love him.
But anyway, I'm boring you with details again. You were saying? Lomantang stick fighting is a little like a Berolidin addiction. I've been practicing it for nearly 20 years now, so you could say that my doses have grown a little peculiar.
Wait, what does this man know about Berolidin addiction?
You got me, detective. But my history should hardly come as a surprise.
Here's a former junkie. I can recognize one when I see it.
Dad's fighting with sticks every night after dinner for 4 hours. He has a special room for that. And a special costume.
That's right, Mikhail. It also has a meditative quality. Helps to clear my head. But anyway. Sure, what's on your mind? But of course, what else? No, thanks to you for having me and little Mikhail here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
Pick your brain? If anything, this was rather one-sided. He did the talking. Whatever.